You are already ahead of 90% of all violinists if you can just make your violin practice efficient. After teaching hundreds of students and playing the violin for more than 1 million people, I found the main reason why adults struggle to learn the violin. They don't know how to practice deliberately. Today, I'm going to not only show you what you should practice, but how to practice it, so that you can start making consistent progress and play the violin beautifully. And the first step is to understand the difference between practicing and playing. I remember when I was very young and I was learning the violin, very often I will just buy some books or listen to a music piece and find like, oh, I really love this piece, and then I will start learning it, so repeat and repeat and repeat the same piece, really enjoying it, and I thought I was practicing. That's not practicing, that's just playing. So what is actually practicing? We'll see that very soon in the second part of this video, but basically, what practicing means that you know what you want to improve and you know exactly how to improve it by following specific methods, specific frameworks, implementing specific techniques. But first, the second thing you need is to follow a step-by-step plan. That's one of the biggest mistakes I see, that most people just practice some random things, different pieces from maybe different level, but still it's not a step-by-step plan. The first part you need to understand is that if you want to make big progress and learn to play the violin beautifully, you need to learn the basic of the violin. And you need to improve your technique by practicing specific technical exercises with the aim only of improving your technique. You can't just improve your technique on the violin just by playing pieces. Basically, what all of the best violin teachers worldwide teach was always 50% of the time technique. But then you can't just make some random technical exercises. They need to be part of a step-by-step plan. So actually, let me show you the plan we use with our students in the Violin Academy based on the violin pyramid methods. And first, something simple you can see is that there is 10 different levels. And a big mistake I see a lot of people do is just that they practice things that are not for their level. And then, like you can see, every level is separated in different weeks on step-by-step lessons. So this is the level 1 for complete beginners, for example. And like I see, for example, the week 1, that's only how to get the perfect posture, because that's very important. That's something you will need the whole time. Then the second week, it's just learn the perfect bowing hold, so that you can later on have a beautiful sound. Because if you learn this wrong, later on it will be very difficult to correct it. Then week 3, it's to develop a free sound, because the problem with most people is that they hold the bow too tense, and because of that it sounds bad. Then the next point is how to bow straight with a whole bow, okay? To learn to use each part of the bow, and this with a bow that stays straight the whole time, so that the sound can be beautiful. Then week 5 is where they start with the left hand, but not everything at once. At first they learn only one string, the D string, and they learn to play only 2 fingers on it, the first and the second. With those basic exercises you can see here, that are really simple. 0 to 1, 1 to 2, 0, 1 to 1, 0 to 2, okay, just the most basic combination. Then learn a first song, but this song is very easy, and that's the thing here, and a big mistake I see a lot of beginners do. This song is based exactly on what they learned before. That means it's only on the D string and only with the first and the second finger. And instead, what I see a lot of people do is that they can play only specific things, but they play pieces with a lot of things they never learn to do. So then they learn the third finger, and so on and so on. So the third point is something that in the violin pyramid method we call the 15 minutes rule. The 15 minutes rule, it's a few things. The first thing is that you should practice at least 15 minutes every day. Because if instead of that you don't practice for a few days and then practice 1 hour, then you are not gonna do a lot of progress, because you will forget a lot of the things you did before. The effective way to learn the violin is really to practice a little bit every day. Of course, you can practice more. But then, even more important, it's what are you gonna practice during those 15 minutes. And basically, there is 4 main categories you should practice. The first one should be for mastering the bow. The second one should be to master the left hand, using specific technical exercises. The third one should be to master one piece. And the last one is for artistic mastery, to learn to play the violin really beautifully, with musicality. And basically, you should always share your time proportionally between those 4 blocks. And by the way, if you are learning the violin as an adult, I'm organizing a free violin masterclass. For registering, just click on the link below this video. So now let's see how you could practice efficiently every one of those 4 blocks. And first, how to practice open strings. So if you want to develop a beautiful sound with the bow, you really need to practice them first on open string. That means without the left hand, only the bow. And here you need to have a structure. That means first you want to define a tempo for practicing. I would advise just taking tempo 60. Then you want to choose a specific rhythm. It could be an half note, a quarter note, or an eighth note. It doesn't matter, but you should choose something so that you are not just like playing some endless open string, but really playing some specific rhythm in a specific tempo. Then you need to choose a specific part of the bow. Okay? That's very important. You don't want to practice just always in the middle, like most people do. Most important part are actually the frog, the tip, and wall bow. That means, for example, let's say I choose to practice the frog, and then I choose to play some quarter note, then it will look like this. And the thing here is that when I practice, especially the frog or the tip, I really want to go to the extremity, okay? Even if sometimes I touch the metal part. Because if not, very often what happens is that we let always a bigger and bigger part of the bow unused. And the next thing is that you should combine those exercises with different dynamics. That could be playing very softly, or playing very loudly, making crescendo or decrescendo. And then, of course, what our students do is that we have specific methods for every aspect of mastering the bow, not only how to have a strike bow, but like how to optimize the contact point, the speed of the bow, how to transfer the weight of the arm on the string, and all those kind of things. And basically, during those 15 minutes, you should practice one of those methods so that you improve your sound on open strings. So next point is how to practice scales. So first, I call it scales, but it's a broad word for every basic exercises. The first one I showed to you, it was only the first and the second finger. Later on, they could be more complicated. So let me show you actually a 1 octave scales. That's something that actually our students do at level 3, starting with the 1 octave major scale. Here it is. Okay, it's a very standard scale from D to D. But actually you should not only practice only scale, but scale of first 2, or arpeggio, and so on. But let's focus on how to practice it. So basically, there is 4 stages. The first stage is just that you want to be sure that you are playing the right notes. This stage is something we call calibration in the violin pyramid method. The goal is to calibrate each finger to the right notes. There is different way to do that, but if we take our example of the D 1 octave scale, the first thing I will do will be to optimize the notes that are the easiest to optimize. That means, for example, the G on the D string. Here the G is very easy because I can compare it with the G string. I can just play the G and listen for the resonance. If the tone is not good, the tone will go down. If the note is good, it will sound very far. It will stay. 1, 2, 3, 4. And this is very helpful for every note that's the same as an open string. Then the next step, after you calibrate every note and you are sure this is a perfect note, is that you want to start practicing with a tempo in specific rhythm. Here the goal is to automate your left hand. So I would advise starting with tempo 60 here too, but you could increase later on. And you will start playing in half note like you can see here, very regularly. You will do that a few times until you feel really confident and can play every tone perfectly with a beautiful sound, and then you will go directly, without interruption, to quarter notes. And then directly to eighth note, here too, first when the quarter notes are really good. Then let's see how to practice pieces effectively. Here, what I will advise you is to use the 7 steps framework from the Violin Pyramid methods. Here, the goal is to master every single aspect of your piece, so that when you play it in the end, it not only sounds perfect, but at the same time, you can really just enjoy playing and play it really beautifully with a lot of musicality. Really focusing on mastering every difficulty one after another, and then putting all the pieces together. For that, the first step will be to pronounce the note names. So here is an example for Vivaldi Spring, a beginner version of it. And what I would say, first step will be just to say the note's name, so that you know what you need to play. C, E, D, C, G, F, E, D, C, G, and so on. Then the second step will be to pronounce the rhythm via ta. That means that we are just saying the rhythm without the note name. That we'll do like that. Ta, 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 2, 3, ta, 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 and so on. Then step 3 will be to pronounce the note's name with rhythm. To do like that. C, E, 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 D, C, G, 2, 3, G, F, E, and so on. Yeah, the goal is really just to learn really what you need to play first. Then, starting with step 4, we want to learn the piece on the violin. And the first point will be to master the left hand. And here we have a few steps, and the first will be calibrating, and then automating. Basically, it's the same as for the scale. That means that first, we'll repeat every note without any repetition and calibrate it. And then we'll start playing them in half note, quarter note, eighth note to automate it. Then step 5 is to master the bow. Here what you want to do is to first play the piece on open string. And here there is a few sub-steps you could do too. We'll see only like the main one today. Basically just playing the piece on open string. So it will look like that and sound like that. Here the goal is to play the real rhythm on the right strings with a beautiful sound. Then step 6 is to play a slow, safe version of the piece. Basically here the goal is really just that it sounds good first, with the right notes, right intonation, beautiful sound, and so on. For that I play everything like the original, but very safe, very slow. Like that, for example. Yeah, I just want to focus on playing everything perfectly with the right technique. And then step 7 is to play with musicality. Then I'm gonna redo the same, but this time I really want to play it beautifully, not only from technical point, but I want really to come into the music and really try to make something musical. And that brings us to the last point, how to practice musicality. For that, one of the best things you could do is just to try to imitate some of the best violinists worldwide. So that's the reason, for example, in the Violin Academy, we have more than 150 beautiful pieces that we arrange for beginners that our students can play with the best ensemble, the best violinists worldwide. Here is an example, that's the air from Bar with 2 recordings, the one from Lisa Battiagioli and another one from David Garrett. And what I advise you to do is just take one bar, something very simple that you can play today with your actual level. Listen to it one time and then try to do it yourself. So let me show you. I will play only that. And then I will try to play it the same way. Not quite there. I will just listen again to it. So let's play it again. I could put a loop too. It doesn't matter. I can change. That's the thing too. You could really make it slower too. Or there is a lot of ways you can make it simpler for you. Okay, we'll play again. Something really good is just close your eyes to really focus on what you are hearing, okay? And it doesn't matter if it's not perfect, like just try to imitate it, don't think about the technique, just try to copy it the same. And then do that again with another recording. So here, let's do the same with the one from David Garrett. Okay. You really just try to imitate them, okay? And when you do that enough time, then you start really to understand like what it is to play with musicality, what you could do, what are the different technique, and so on. And here you will find another video on how to practice scales. Thanks you.